um, go and put your email in. Oh, it's recording now.
Yes. We're good. Go ahead and finish,
Okay.
and then I'll jump in.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were back. Then I'll email you the notes from tonight.
Awesome. Yes.
Just filling the space.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, guys. I apologize. You know what? This is how my afternoon has been, and we just have to take it and roll with it. And I am so appreciative for each of you joining the call. This is going to be a great call tonight. Abby Unger and I went to middle school together, and we kind of separated for a little while, and thanks to the beauty of social media, we were brought back together. And I have just so enjoyed the relationship that we've been able to build and the connections we've been able to make through this, through the beautiful opportunities with social media and groups, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight. So Abby is a speaker. She used to be a flight attendant. She has since stopped flying. She's staying home with her 3 little babies, and she has written 2 books, correct?
Yes.
We posted in the I posted a link for you guys to check out. Please check it out. It's super short, super fast. There's tons of information in there that's going to be so helpful and with you in building groups, which is what we're going to talk about tonight, but also really about finding your niche and learning how to build connections with people and build solid relationships, which again, she's going to really delve into that tonight and help you with that. So she's a speaker. She loves to travel, hence the flight attendant. She is a Facebook advocate. She is the owner of Flight Attendant Career Connection. That's a mouthful. And again, mom of 3, and they're under the age of 5. So I know many of you on the call and on the team know all about having little ones. So Abby, thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight and share your wealth of information. Maybe we'll have some time afterwards to talk about this, but I've actually used your advice on a couple of different groups, and it's been incredibly successful. So with that said, I just want you to go ahead and take it away and fill us in on all your amazing advice on Facebook groups.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. I'm excited to talk to y'all. Let me tell you a little bit more about my story as far as Facebook groups goes, because Rebecca gave you sort of my bio about my family and things like that. But right now, I own a company called Flight Attendant Career Connection, and I coach aspiring flight attendants. I wrote a book that was a guide to how to become a flight attendant about 2.5 years ago, and I self-published it and started a Facebook group to support the self-published book. And the Facebook group started to grow, and the book sales didn't really take off, but the group took off. And so I'm a big proponent of following sort of where you're finding the traction and heading in the direction of where you're finding success. So I started to really encourage the Facebook group and started doing some things to help it grow and grow and grow. And about a month ago, probably 3 weeks ago, I accepted my 20,000th member into Flight Attendant Career Connection. So it is a really large group of people. It's very niche, of course, as you can imagine, because it's for aspiring flight attendants. But I have collected a group of people that I now have the permission to talk to encourage, to sell to, because they've joined my group and they're in my space. So I do already have that permission to sell to them and to offer what I have to solve their problem. Once the group grew to about 5,000 members, Facebook took notice, and they sent a camera crew out to my house and featured me in their team meeting that they do every week, and that added some press and some things like that. And so I tell you all this to tell you that that's why I'm so passionate about Facebook groups, because it made my business. It is what my business is based on. It's where I market, and it's really what I love. And I believe that it's a great place for anyone, no matter what you're selling or what you're offering or what problem you're solving, to really connect to people. So let's go ahead and jump into Facebook groups. Now, I'm going to talk about Facebook groups maybe a little bit different than the way you've been doing them. Now, I know Rebecca does, and I'm going to guess that a lot of y'all do these challenge groups where every 20, 30 days you start a new challenge group and you invite some people in and y'all encourage each other, and it's smaller. The Facebook group I want to talk about is a little bit different. And this is the Facebook group that you are going to invite everyone to. It's going to be open for anyone who meets your who feels like they meet the criteria of the person you want to serve. So you don't have to decide if they can come in or not, but if someone is looking for a place to either be a stay-at-home mom and looking for support, or they want to be a work-from-home mom, or maybe they love to knit, or maybe there could be anything that is sort of your niche, something that you're good at, and is part of your personality, part of something that you have a lot to offer. I would encourage you to start a Facebook group based on that. Now, you don't have to sell knitting supplies, though, if you have a knitting one. And I know that y'all are Beachbody coaches, so you already sort of have a product line that's established. And that is going to be sold through the relationships that you build as people really get to know you. Because I sell my books and my products for aspiring flight attendants, but I also sell other products in the group, and I also have other relationships with other businesses that advertise to my members. So it's not just a flat one-trick pony. You're really creating sort of it's a whole group of people that are like-minded and passionate about the same thing. And then through that, the problems start to come up. And then as the problems come up, then you can start offering some solutions. I want you to think of this group as like a bookstore. And if you were to open a bookstore, what would you do? You would want people to come and hang out there. You would want it to be comfortable and welcoming. If someone came into your bookstore and they started talking a bunch of trash about booksellers, you would probably ask them to leave. If someone came into your bookstore and started selling their own books, you would probably talk to them about not soliciting inside your bookstore. And so I feel like that puts a good picture of what your Facebook group is. It's kind of like your bookstore. Now, sometimes people come into the bookstore and they just walk around for hours and they never buy anything and they read all your magazines. And you know what? That's okay. That's what happens in a bookstore sometimes. But hopefully they'll come back next time and buy a book from you. But you don't have to, but having them, some people are just going to want to kind of like walk around and get comfortable and see what you have to offer. And that's okay. Some people will come into your bookstore and you'll start to get asked the same question over and over again. Like, where's the gardening section? Where's the gardening section? Where's the gardening section? And it can get frustrating. And you're going to want to put up a big sign that says the gardening section's over here. But please don't ask me. But if you had a real bookstore, you would never put up a sign that says, please don't ask me where the gardening section is. It's over there. You would just answer the question again. And so these are some of the things that come up in the Facebook group. Questions get asked over and over again, but you have to look at these new people as customers, and every time they ask you a question, it's because they trust you and they trust you as the expert, and it really is an honor for someone to ask you your opinion or to ask you to help them solve a problem. I always try to look at it as, that's a big deal. Not everyone, it's hard for people to ask for help. It's hard for people to find people to trust, especially on social media. So anytime someone asks you a question for the 100,000th time, take it as an honor and an opportunity to really connect with them and share with them. Okay, so let's start talking about naming your group. So we're going to talk about naming your group, setting a description, and then a couple ways to get it growing. So when you name your group, I want you to think about who your sort of ideal customer is. Now, your product that y'all sell is for everyone. It's across the board. If you're old, if you're young, if you're a man, if you're a woman, it's for everyone. But as you start to think about your customers, there's probably certain customers that you help the most or that are more drawn to you based on where you are in life. And those are the kind of people that I want you to start thinking about as you open your group. Now, of course, anyone can come in your group. It's not like you're closing it off, but the more specific that you can be about your group, the easier it's going to be for people to find you and to feel like they belong in your group. So Rebecca has one called Multitasking Mamas, I believe. And so it's not one of her challenge groups, but she has a lot of women in there who have children and are trying to run a business, or even just trying to do something to feel like themselves outside of just motherhood by itself. And so she collects people in there. Now, sometimes people say, I'm feeling tired. How do y'all keep your energy up? And that's an awesome opportunity for her to say, well, I drink my Shakeology every day. Or, I just had a baby and I'm trying to get back into exercising, but I don't feel like I can start running. And she can be like, oh, well, here's so-and-so. Or, y'all know the products better than me. So she has products that she can offer. So it is a door for her to open for sales, but her group is not for weight loss. Her group is not for exercising. Her group is just supporting women who are trying to basically run a business, who have children at home. So that's who she really feels like she represents and who she connects with. In my group, it's aspiring flight attendants. So that's not what I am right now. I'm not an aspiring flight attendant, but I have answers for those people, and that's where my expertise is, and that's where my specialty is. So I want you to kind of think about what you think your group could represent. And this is a broad group that's going to be relationship building, and then you can move people into your challenge groups the way y'all traditionally do as necessary. The name of my group is called Flight Attendant Career Connection. The name of my book is Looking Skyward. And I did not name my group and the book the same name on purpose, because Looking Skyward is kind of generic and you don't really know what it is. Like, is it bird watching or what is it? So I was very specific. I used the word flight attendant, I used the word career, and then connection, because it's a group. And that is something else I want you to consider when you're naming your group. It doesn't have to be super cute. It can be cute, but it needs to be something that people can remember. Don't spell it weird, because they're going to be searching for it. You don't want to make it hard for people to figure out, to find. So multitasking mamas with vision, multitasking mamas. If I type that in, it'll pop up. I don't have to remember anything weird about it. You're also going to set a description as you go through, and I want your description to be really, really welcoming. So many groups, the admins get frustrated, and I get it because I get frustrated, and they make their description full of rules. And that, if I find your group and I stumble upon it, and the first thing I'm reading is how you can't share this and you can't share that, and you need to be quiet, and if it's not your turn, and I'm going to kick you out after the first time, it's just not welcoming. People know that they are not supposed to share porn in your group. The rule's not going to stop them. People know that they're not supposed to just spam your group with everything that they have to sell. The rule's not going to stop them. They're going to do it until you kick them out. So really, the only thing the rule is doing is preventing a nice person from wanting to feel welcomed in your group. So it's okay. At the bottom of your description, it says something. Mine says like, the admin reserves the right to delete any post that they don't feel is on topic. Very generic, but it's on there, and I don't lead with the rules. People know what rules are. People know. So also you're going to set, so that's the description. Now we're going to also set the tags. Tags are kind of like the filing system that Facebook uses. So pick 3 that match whatever your target market is, maybe even like a competitor. I think one of my tags is one of my competitors, which is the Flight Attendant Travel Academy or something like that, because I want people who search for that, I want Facebook to know that those people are my target market. And the tags are really easy to miss, so that's why I mention it. When you're setting up your group, make sure you put the tags in there. And most likely your tags are not going to be like exercise or fitness unless that really is the direction that your group is going. It might be business or knitting or whatever it is that's sort of more the hobby umbrella brand above your group. The next thing that I want you to do is within the group, I want you to establish yourself as an expert. Okay, so I want everyone to hear me say that this is your group and you're the boss of your group and you're the expert in your group, and people will come to your group because they want you. They want to connect with you. This was your idea. This is your baby. This is your brainchild. And you should set yourself up as the expert. Now, you don't have to go waving a big flag that says you're the expert. The way you're going to do that is you're going to make sure that you answer as many questions as you can, or make sure the questions are answered. If someone else answers the question the way you would, then I encourage you to comment underneath and say, that's exactly what I was going to say. Sort of like you're giving it your stamp of approval. And people will start to look to you because you're always there, you're always answering questions, and you're leading the conversation, and they'll start to look at you as the expert. Another way to do that is to like and comment on most of the posts. You know, because you're going to be the expert, you're going to be almost famous in your group. So if someone posts something and you like it, when I post, like, I'm not famous, y'all didn't know who I was before. I'm not like on TV famous. But if someone posts in my group and I comment, for them that's cool because I'm the admin of the group, because it's my group. And I showed up and 20,000 people and I liked their post, or I said, I love the way your hair looks, because we talk a lot about what you're going to wear to an interview. So, you know, I love your lipstick, I love your hair, I love your shoes. People think that's really neat because there's 20,000 of them and I took the time to comment on them. So I spend a lot of time liking and commenting and liking and commenting. And it doesn't take a lot of time for me to do it, but it matters a lot to them. And it puts me and my name in front of them and helps them to know who I am. I also want you to share other people's content in your group. I don't want it to be just you all the time. So if someone writes a blog post, maybe not like your direct competition, but maybe just like a news article or something that you think that your group would think is interesting, that's another way to establish yourself as an expert. Even though it's not your article, you didn't write it, the fact that you found it and then presented it to them is doing it as a service for them. So they will start to look to you to be the one that's up on the topics and knows what's going on. Okay, so I also want you to respect the sanctity of your group. So if someone posts something in your group, don't take it out of the group without their permission. For me, I run a career group. So I can't go posting, you know, so-and-so just got hired, because if she hasn't let her boss know and she's friends with her boss on Facebook, that would be big trouble. So the same with y'all, like, you know, weight loss, that can sometimes be sensitive, or whatever it is. Maybe the dress that they're knitting is a surprise gift and you don't want to just share it on Facebook. So without permission, try to keep everything within the sanctity of your group. All right. How much time do I have? How much time do I have left? A few minutes? 5 minutes? 6 minutes? I can't hear you.
At least 10 minutes.
Okay, good. I couldn't really tell because I wasn't really sure when we started. So, okay, good. All right. Let's talk really quick about spammers, because this is a big problem in your group and it's hard. You've got to have a game plan on how to deal with it. So there's a couple different ways you're going to deal with it based on the type of spam that you're getting. First of all, I want to empower all of you to just delete the spam, because this is your group. You do not have to be fair. This is not America. This is your world. This is your playground and it's your rules. So if there's a post in there that you don't like, then delete it. Okay, but then the next step sort of just depends on what kind of spam it is. So if it's these Oakleys or, you know, stuff that you know is a fake account, it's not really a person, you can just delete it and remove them and don't even think about it again. Now, if it's someone who's spamming your group and you can tell that they're a business owner, one thing to do is still you can delete their post, but you may want to consider messaging them and just saying, you know, I had to delete your, you know, unique post because, you know, I'm really careful about what is posted as far as products go, and I try to really protect my members. And since I haven't tried this product or I'm not familiar or something like that, you could say I had to delete the post. if you wanted to, you could open the door to start a relationship with them, and you could say, but if you're interested in maybe advertising in my group, you could either charge money, which turns a lot of people off and gets rid of a lot of spam, because they'll say, I'm not in the position to do that right now, and it sort of shuts it down. It's not like you're saying this isn't allowed. You're just saying this is paid advertising space, because that's what they're doing. They're advertising, and usually advertising space costs money. Or maybe you could do, maybe they want to send you some free product and then you could review it. Like, there's a couple different ways you can really start to build a relationship. I would encourage you not to burn any bridges at all, unless they get really ugly with you, and then you just don't need that in your life, and then you can burn that bridge. But if they're just hustling, we're all business owners, we understand the hustle, then just try to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it doesn't have to stay in your group. So based on that too, I want you to make sure that you're not spamming everyone as well. Okay, so even though you have a group, y'all don't need to turn into spammers where you're going around to other people's groups and either saying, come join my group, or I've got a great group, come join my group, or with your product. Now, I am a firm believer, of course, in Facebook groups as being a way to sell to people, but the way you would do that in someone else's space, again, it's like you're going into their bookstore. You would want to just sort of be around, and if someone says, hey, do you know where the gardening books are? It opens the door to say, yeah, this one's actually my favorite because I wrote it, or something like that. But you wouldn't just go in with your book and be like, look, buy my book, because these people are running a business, and we would never do that. Now let's talk about how to convert. I feel like this is a crash course. I said this kind of at the beginning, but I'm going to email you the notes so that, and then I know this is recorded. So hopefully it'll be able to, you can flesh it out a little bit.
It is totally okay if you go a little bit over. People can jump off and catch the recording at the end. This is such good content. I don't want you to skip over anything or rush through anything. So just relax and just give us
Well, I'm almost to the end, but I picked like the really big highlighted points and tried to pull them out. But I want to get to how we make money, which is how to convert your members into customers. The first thing that I want you to know is make sure you do is keep your products easy to learn about and your pricing simplified. Sometimes I'm in groups, because I'm in everybody's group. Like, I'm just in groups because I love Facebook groups. And sometimes I'll see people post things and they'll say, like, I just did this cleanse and lost 15 pounds. And then people will be like, oh my gosh, what did you do? And they're like, oh, well, PM me for the details. And it just kind of feels like weird. Like, I don't know you that good. I don't necessarily want to private message you. And what's the big secret? Especially in your own group, you want to use every opportunity you have to tell all your members what you're selling. So you would never, even though it feels like it's a better relationship if you can really get them one-on-one in a private message, if someone asks you, what can I do to lose 15 pounds? You want to put that out there in your group so the person that's too afraid to ask gets to see it. And so that you have now had an opportunity to just sell it to everyone. You don't need to scoot them away in the corner. They asked. It just feels weird. So just go ahead and make sure your pricing is easy to find, your links are easy to find, and your products are simplified. You want to keep your posting ratio, it's like an 80-20 ratio. So 80% of your posts should be content, helpful, comments, even that looks great, that counts as an 80% non-selling post, and then 20% can be selling. So I'm not talking about posts that you necessarily lead with. Like I said, anytime you post, it counts as your post. So if you're commenting, it counts as a post. If you are sharing a blog post of someone else's, that counts as a post. So it's an 80-20 percentage for content posts to selling posts. So it depends on how often you post and how often you comment, how many times a week, a day you can sell. I'm at the point now where I do not start very many conversations. My group is large, and they start conversations themselves. So most of the time when I start a conversation, it is a sales conversation because I am using all of my content credit spread around as comments or links that I'm sharing, or this airline's hiring, or that hairstyle looks great, or here's the best place to get pantyhose. It's like really weird stuff that we talk about. So all that counts as content. And then when I do go post, I'm at the point now where it really is like, buy my workbook, here's the link. And that's the conversation that I'm starting because I'm using my content credit all around and I'm kind of spreading it around. So that's okay. So you don't have to start 8 non-selling conversations before you can start a selling conversation. So I hope that that makes sense. Another really good way to convert people is videos. Right now, Facebook just loves video. They just do. Blog posts are really good too if you like to write. I feel like videos are easier to make, and especially like with Periscope and everything, people's expectation of the quality of your video is a lot lower than it has been in the past. Like they're not looking for a studio and like staged. You can just pop on and like record on your laptop and just really connect with your customers that way. And I find making videos is quicker than writing blog posts. So I've started doing that more. And this is what I make videos about: frequently asked questions. Because like I said before, people will ask you the same thing over and over again, and it can start to get frustrating, but you never want to shut them down or make them feel bad for asking. So one of the ways that I have I save time and that I'm really able to answer that question is I have a video about resume tips. I have a video about video interview tips. I have a video about face-to-face interview tips. So these are all in my niche. So you could do the same thing in your niche. And anytime someone says, how do I make a flight attendant resume? I say, I made this video and I'll link. It's on YouTube now. So I'll just share the link. They can watch me talk for 7 minutes about a resume. And then at the end, I say, I do tell them that I rewrite resumes. They could also pay me to do it. I give them all my tips. And then I just let them know if they want more personalized help, visit my site, and I don't say it this way, I don't say, and I can sell you a resume, but you know, that's the point of the video. That's the point of all of this, is for us to connect and then offer a product that solves a problem. And once they've listened to me talk about the resume for 6 minutes or so, they can trust me and they realize that I know what I'm talking about. And so the video really helps to sort of jump into, okay, I feel comfortable paying this person. Whereas I didn't have to sit down and like schedule a call or anything like that. It's a pre-recorded way to connect with them very specifically to what they want too. And then another thing that I want you to know, this is really, really, really super important, is you need to be collecting email addresses, because right now Facebook is playing really, really nice with groups. They don't charge us. They show everything I post to everyone in the group. There's no limit to how many people I can have. Like, they're playing really, really nice. They're sharing their platform with me in a way that's really generous, but they probably won't do that forever. So I collect email addresses. I use MailChimp is what I find to be the easiest. And the screen went black. I hope we're still there. Can y'all still hear me? Yes? Okay, good. So I have a little, I think Shalene calls them like a freemium, but I give away a interview worksheet if you sign up for my email list, so that I can be collecting those email addresses just in case I wake up tomorrow and Facebook has changed the game. I would not lose all of my contacts or all of my relationships. So every couple days I just say, don't forget to sign up for the email, don't forget to sign up for the email, and I just post a little link, and then people will hop on and I'll get, you know, a handful of people signing up for the email. And then I send out an email in theory once a month. I'm not super good about it, but I do try to stay in front of them so that it's not like in 3 years I'm going to email them and then everyone leave. But I do most of my selling and connecting in the group, and then I back it up with that email. Okay, one last thing. How to deal with doubters and haters, okay? Again, I want you to think about it like it's your store. If someone came in your store and started talking about how stupid books are and how everybody who reads is an idiot, you would probably ask them to leave your store. The same thing is with your group. If someone is being ugly either about your product or if they're being ugly to another member, or if they're talking smack about you personally, you don't have to try to convince them. They just need to not be in your group. So just delete them and just don't think about them again. Now that's inside the group, if they're mean inside the group. If they're mean outside the group, which that will happen as well as you become an expert and you become more well-known at what you're really, really good at, people may unfortunately talk ugly about you outside the group. And that's a little bit trickier to deal with. And there's two things you can do. You can ignore them, which is what I kind of suggest if they're not on your page. Like if they're on someone else's page or in someone else's group, like sometimes from time to time I'll get screenshots from people in my group that are in another group and they'll be like, this person said something ugly about you, and they'll send a screenshot. You know, that's someone else's group. There's nothing I can do about it. I wish people didn't talk ugly about me, but there's nothing I can do about it. So I just ignore that. I do make sure they're not a member of my group, though. If you're going to talk ugly about me in another group, you don't get to stay in my group. So I do go and I just delete them. I don't send them a message. I don't tell them why. I don't interact with them at all. I just delete them. And then sometimes, though, people will say ugly things on like my personal Facebook page or my like page, which is public. And I just delete it. I just delete it and I block them and I just move on with life. There's no point in trying to convince them that what you're doing is good, that multi-level marketing is not a pyramid scheme, that, you know, Shakeology is not going to give you cancer, whatever they're making up, that there's no point. They're not your customer. They are not your customer, so you don't need to worry about them. They're somebody else's problem, so just go ahead and move them out. There's so many other people that want what you have and want to connect with you and want to trust you, that to waste any time at all trying to convince some crazy person that you are not taking everyone's money like Bernie Madoff, then, you know, there's just not time in the day. There's just not time in the day. They need to just, you know, pray for them and just send them along. Another thing, though, I do want to talk about, sometimes you'll encounter a doubter who's not really mean. Like, they're not a hater. They're just sort of like, I'm not sure about this. Like, my mom used to sell Amway, and I don't think it's really, you know, or they're just sort of like, they don't really know. If that's the case, and you can kind of tell, if they're really kind of questioning, like, I'm not really sure, but I kind of want to know, my answer to that is to give away as much free content as you can. So whatever it is that you have that's free. I have a digital workbook and a digital book that I'll give to people because it doesn't cost me a ton of money. And if someone's like, I'm not really sure if I should go to this travel academy or if I should hire you, I give them my book. I will sometimes even give away, you know, like a 30-minute coaching session or something. I know Rebecca sometimes will give away, like she sent me a packet of the new Shakeology, a sample of the coffee one, cafe latte or whatever, you know, so any kind of sample or something like that to sort of give it away, that's what inspires trust. That's how they know that you're not just trying to sell to them, that you're not just trying to sign them up no matter what, like, you know, just a herd of people signing them up. You're investing in them and then asking them to invest back in you. And I trust my product, and I know that y'all trust your product too. And that's where it comes in. You can give them some product because you trust it and you know that they'll purchase again. And that's how I know my product, and I trust that if I give it to someone, it's going to cause them to want to buy from me. So that's how you kind of deal with that person that's sort of questioning. I would just say give away as much as you can. Even if you have printables, like for the 21-day fix, I was Googling around and I found some, that's what I'm doing right now, the 21-day fix. And I found some really cool printables that someone had put on their blog and it already had all my color coding done, and I didn't even have to figure it out. You know, that was really generous of her. I'm sure that she converts a chunk of people because she has created these fun printables and she's giving that content away. She's making it easier. She's showing people how it can really work for them, okay? All right, so that's what I have to talk about. Thank you for letting me share about it. And I'm really just honored that I even got to connect with y'all. And I don't know if we have time. Do we have time for a couple questions, or should we do that in the events page?
What do you guys think? I know that there was one question asked. April jumped on and asked if you make your groups open or closed, which...
Okay, good. Yes. I should have said that. It's on the thing. It's on the outline. But closed. Do you want the setting to be closed? That's a great question. The reason you want it closed is because that keeps all of the posts, like the stuff that people post, private, but it allows your group to be searchable. So if someone's just Googling flight attendant groups, they'll see the name of my group and they can request to join. They can see who's in the group. They can see who the members are, but it protects the content. Now, of course, social media is not private at all, but it keeps people from just window shopping. They've actually got to walk in.
Right. Okay, good. How about, can we just take 2 questions, and then as we have more, we can post them in the group? Does that sound good?
And I'm good. I think y'all are the ones on the, I don't want to go over on y'all's side.
We're good for a few more minutes.
All right, good.
Does anybody have anything that they want to ask? Or you guys going to play shy? Nobody wants to ask any questions? If you look at the bottom scroll, you should see your little mute button on the bottom left-hand side. You can push that and unmute yourself. Does anybody have any ideas about groups that they think they might want to play with, but you're not sure how you would do it? Well, I'm going to ask a quick question. If anybody wants to jump in after this, because as you know, as you said, I did the Multitasking Mamas with Vision, and then I also did, it's called No Dollar Left Behind. Now, what I've noticed, guess who I attract to a lot of my groups is other coaches. And so I'm very cautious. I will not, I make sure that I'm not going to take anybody, because I want my coaches to add people. If they have friends and family that need to take advantage of my budgeting group, I want them to take advantage of it and know and trust that I'm not going to step on their custom. Those are their people. So, is that kind of a different dynamic from what you deal with? Because
it is. I really come from the point, from the place of there's enough for. I'm sorry if y'all can hear my kids. I'm sorry. I don't know if y'all can hear them.
There's enough people for everybody.
Okay, yeah, but there's enough people for everybody, and you have a different. Now you wouldn't do that in your challenge group necessarily.
Right.
But these groups have a different purpose.
Right.
And these groups are going to grow in a different direction. And so I do think that having it, and hopefully they'll be respectful of you too. If someone's not being respectful, which I don't know if maybe that's part of your question too, like maybe they're stepping on toes, or does that not really happen?
I think I make it clear in my description that I think I said that I'm a coach, but I make it clear that this is not a place to promote your business, because many of us in here are small business owners or multi-level marketers. So let's just not do that in this group. That's how I kind of do my disclaimer.
Okay, and that sounds good. So are you talking about people that are just more than just Beachbody coaches, but just across the board, like everyone?
Well, I know that other coaches add people that are their friends and family. They may not be their customer yet, but I want them to feel safe knowing that I'm not going to. And so for those of you, because I know, because all of us do our challenge groups, I want you guys to start thinking about ways that you can create other groups, because Abby kind of briefly talked about it earlier, where we don't want to go into other people's groups and spam and say, hey, I see it all the time, it's disgusting, like people trying to push their crap in these groups, and we don't want to do that. We want to, like Abby said, we want to build the relationship in that group and then maybe take it outside of the group.
Right.
So, I want you guys to start thinking about groups that you can start so that it is your group, and you have complete rights to sell in those groups if you want to. But then also being mindful that, if you have a bunch of Beachbody coach friends, and some of you may not have as many as I do, it seems like that's all my news.
I see what you mean. Yeah. But, okay. Because your group may go in a different direction. first of all, you're all selling the same product. So people are going to buy from the person they like the best.
Right.
They maybe will like you better than they like their aunt or maybe they won't. I don't know. Maybe their cousin is a man who sells it and they don't want to connect with him. Maybe they want to connect with you. Like like I said before, I feel like there's enough for everybody. And it kind of comes down to who's connecting with who.
Right.
I mean, because you're not really talking about Beachbody in that group a ton.
Right.
So they would almost have to seek you out.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Well, we will close with that. And if you guys do think of questions, please do take the opportunity over the next week or so to post in that group and ask different things as maybe you start to form your group. Abby, thank you so much for taking the time and doing this. Don't forget, I posted the links where you can get Abby's book from Amazon, but there's also another link on there where there's a special code that you can put in so that you can get a discount on the hard copy, signed, autographed copy of the book. So it's a super simple, short read. I think you'll all enjoy it and get a lot of information out of it. It's going to help you guys jumpstart your next group.
All right. Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a good night.